I started something called Fotolog just before Meetup, which no one's ever heard of Fotolog, but in its day it was the MySpace of a bunch of countries.
Yeah, it was 2003-ish or something, right? Or
yeah, 2002. 2002. Yeah. So it was pre-Flickr.
It was actually at the time it was I guess sort of one of the first, or maybe the first sort of photo sharing where you actually default to public, right? I mean, as opposed to like sharing with your grandmother.
And actually the real cool thing was that you could see and again, this today sounds obvious, but it was social. It was that you friended people, you followed people, and you could see their photos. Which
and it really took off. Like it was like Brazil and a bunch of other countries.
Yeah, it became the #1 social network, like the #1 social network in about 5 countries, so it really got interesting. It's almost almost 1 billion photos, and you could only upload 1 photo a day, so that gives you a sense of the volume. Yeah. And it sold it at the end of 2007. Although I never worked.
Wasn't John Borthwick came with?
John Borthwick from BetaWorks is the CEO, and Adam Cipher was the guy who really made it all happen.
I think it's in public, so I can say it. I won't. Yeah. But it's like $90 million or something. It was like some. I mean, in other words, it was pretty damn good for a side project or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know though. I don't know if that number is right.
I know, that's what I heard.
Stock prices were up and down, but yeah. And then some, patent troll jerk-offs, got a hold of a chunk of that money.
Oh, really? Because they invented photos on the internet.
Because they invented photos on the internet, and obviously we were,
would they go after? They go after the escrow or whatever?
Yeah.
So that's like apparently the new vogue tactic amongst patent trolls.
Yeah.
Because you go after the escrow. So when companies acquire, you a certain amount of money is put in escrow, and the thing is that there's not an obvious party to defend the escrow that sort of has deep pockets, and so
the acquiring company, the new owners are like, well, we don't care about that escrow, exactly. So
And then the old company's gone, and so it's like it's just sort of it's like a weak point for their evil infiltration.
Yeah. But the thing that was really interesting about Fotolog was that it initially became really popular in New York amongst sort of an internet community of photo buffs and others. And when that network started getting really tight and it was really being used a lot, we thought to ourselves, well, I thought to myself, I can't speak for Adam, but we thought hey, people have invested so much in this social network. They've set up who they're following and who they're fanning, and we thought that it was going to be really there's no way people will leave because they've invested so much time in building this network. And lo and behold, Flickr comes along and people are like, and they moved on. Over. And then wherever Fotolog was popular, they moved on to, and it really taught a lesson about how when you think that the network effects are
like thinking about Facebook today, everyone's like they're going to take over the world, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and hey, if you continue to execute well, that lock-in, I hate the term lock-in, but as you execute well, you're delivering more and more value to people, and yeah, they won't leave. But it was really a key lesson to not take for granted when you've got a network and an activity going.
MySpace, it's amazing. I was how it was just sold, it's almost defunct now. It was sold off on a fire sale, and I looked back and I think it was 2008. It was the #1 website in the world.
Yeah.
It's that recent. It's amazing.
I know.
It's and that's just I mean, one thing Facebook done so smart is besides executing extremely well, they've also just embedded themselves in so many different places and tried all these sorts of things to avoid that, and maybe they'll be the first social network to avoid what seems so far to be this cycle,
Well, I made a bet on stage with Sam Lessin from who's now at Facebook, but back before he was at Facebook about I mean, I'm a big believer in Facebook and a big fan, but that I don't think you can take for granted that any social network is going to be here 10 years from now.